Hello there. In my last episode, I talked about Melablocks. Melablocks is an application that was produced using the RezMela system. I talked about the need for creating applications in 3D virtual environments like this one, where you have an avatar that can move around in a 3D space, and the need to have, in addition to having a nice immersive environment, it would be interesting and useful to have actual applications inside the 3D worlds that people can use for productivity purposes. The application I've chosen is called Kanban. This is a project management tool, and I'm going to show you how the Melablocks app can be used to implement Kanban. But first, let me tell you what Kanban is. Kanban, the word is actually Japanese, and kan means look, ban means printing block. The word Kanban means signboard. This methodology was used mainly in the car industry to optimize production pipelines. And the methodology allows people involved to become aware of various bottlenecks or problems that the production pipeline may have. And this is quite important if you want to identify places where you can make improvements to speed the throughput of products or even tasks through a given production pipeline. Keep in mind that in its simplest form, the Kanban approach can be as simple as just a table with 3 columns. The first column could be a to-do column, the next one could be labeled in progress, and the last one done. And basically what you would do is, if you're applying the Kanban process to a generic project or a software project, you can actually have different tasks that you would be organizing or adding to this board in a similar way to how these people are doing over here. So let's get down to a very simple example, and it's going to make things easier to understand. Let us say we have an organization that needs to let's say we have a group of people who want to organize a conference, okay? And this conference has to happen in a 3D virtual world. And there are, of course, many different tasks that are involved, and we are going to try to use this approach to help them organize the conference, okay? There are a few blocks that I have already prepared here. So for example, an example of task that would be required for setting up a conference would be, you will need to design the 3D conference venue. You will need to work on reviewing the conference papers and posters. You will have, for example, one task could be, you will have to find a keynote speaker. And if this conference is not free, you will have to implement online a an online payment system for this event, we will need to organize the various events, the various tracks for this conference. There are so many different tasks that you will have to do. Okay. Let's add a few more tasks so that you get to see how to create those blocks, those tasks. So I am selecting a text block here that I'm going to place here, and let us say that we also have to work on a prize giving ceremony. So let's say we have a prize giving ceremony, and this text appears here, and then I'm going to add it on top of this stack. Please note, you can also, it all depends on you, on how you want to indicate priorities for these different tasks. And for example, in this case, I could say that the position of the item in the stack represents its priority, but there are so many other ways to do this. You could assign colors to the blocks to indicate priority, like red could mean high priority, yellow less important, and things like that. But it all depends on you. You have a range of parameters that you can play with. You have a range of things that you could do to change how these items would look. And of course, when the project evolves, all right, the first thing before we start looking at how the project evolves, let's look at, the set of people that are involved in the organizing the conference. So let us say that we have Donald, and this is the stack of people involved. So let me just add those people in here. So in short, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to find a way to represent, the very simple Kanban board, but in a 3D space. And I want to make it as simple as it is for, let's say, just writing the information in the table. The advantage of having it in this form is that just like I'm able to visit this site and walk around and read what's available, and read the information presented, I can have a team walking around in the same space and having some idea of the status of the project as it is evolving. So the next step here is to assign people to various tasks. So I suggest that maybe we can clone this box here, and so that we still have these names on this tag, and that this column would work like a legend. So let us say Joe is good at organizing social events, so I'm going to assign Joe to this task. Why not actually sticking it at the back here? Because I'm thinking that since those columns are next to each other, and if there are many people, it might actually, be a problem. So let's say Joe is interested in this task, and let us say there's also somebody else and might be interested in helping out too. So we have two people interested in implementing this task. And let us say we have Donald who wants to, find the keynote speaker and try to get them to come to the conference. And let us say I forgot to clone this. I'm going to clone it and keep one here so that we have the legend that I was trying to achieve. Let's say now Hillary wants to work on event scheduling. So it's quite easy for us to make use of the third dimension to use this opportunity to organize the information in a certain way. And we have more space here to do it. And it's also more simple. And you have a lot more freedom on how you want to organize your information. So this is one way that I like to work, in the sense that I'm a very visual person, and it's easy for me to think this way. I can imagine, other styles of other tendencies, other styles of wanting to organize the information. So that's just fine. Okay, we could implement any range of styles in it. We have the freedom to do that. So for now here, I'm just going to continue with this example. Let's say someone is working on implementing the online payment system. Let's say that person was Barack. So that way you know that there is someone here working on the online payment system. Okay, let me just put this at the back. All right. And of course, as those tasks get completed, okay, then you move them to the next column. Again, if we want to keep those here, we can just clone. It's up to you. If you want to move the tasks instead of duplicating them, I like to duplicate them and keep them. Okay. So you would know that this particular task is done and who actually completed it. I think that's a very, very simple idea and a very simple example of how you can use smart blocks to implement a very simple project management system. Okay, I can even save this setup every day. Let us call it, example. Let me call it, put a date on it. Let us say it's the 1st of January 2021. I'm going to submit this. And, even if I clear this scene, let me just clear this. I can find the scene and load it. And it's going to be there. All right, so I hope this small example here has given you some idea of how we can use smart blocks to implement a simple project management application. And this is an example. Again, be creative and find your own approaches. And if you are ambitious, you can try to use a similar approach to implement a Scrum board, and this would be a good example of how we are trying to achieve an agile workflow in a 3D world. All right, thanks for your attention. I hope to be able to See you soon. All right, take care.